Hi, this is Everett. Everett's Watercolors, and this is Simply Drawing with Everett at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm broadcasting to LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also later on into Instagram. And I'm in the studio tonight with my wife, Gloria,
Hello, everybody.
and she'll be monitoring the broadcast and also the chat room. The chat room's live. If you have any questions or comments during the broadcast, put them down in the comments section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you have comments or questions after the broadcast, put them down in the comments below in the description of this video. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome aboard, and please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and pass on the information to your friends and neighbors. So tonight we're going to do a drawing of ordinary objects. I thought that would be something interesting, and so let's go to my drawing table, and let me get started. Okay, my ordinary objects is sitting at the breakfast table the other day, a picture of a cereal bowl with cereal and a banana. And so that's what we're going to draw tonight. But there's a couple of things we need to think about. Number one, the light colors here, you got to think about values. Now, I'm looking at the object. I see this area up here on the banana. That's the lighter value than the background, in my viewpoint here. So lighter values, a little bit darker. Then the shadow here on the shadow side is darker than this, both sides. And of course the cast shadow here on the table. There's also a shadow inside the bowl, and there's a shadow cast down here on the bowl and this the spoon over here. So we'll catch all those things there as we go along. So keep reminding yourself that when you draw an object and you do the shadow patterns, it's all relative. Which one is darker than the next? So I'm going to start here with an HB pencil, and I'm going to start with I'm going to draw the bowl in first. So we'll start with the cereal bowl. And HB pencil, I'm going to do a preliminary outline sketch, and it's a circular motion. Let's see, I'm going to come up with a width. It's a circle, so it's going to be the same all the way around. Okay, then I draw on the sides. Just so this is a light drawing here, just to get the shape of the outline in of the bowl. A simple circular, and I'm going to put the shadow around it anyway. So that's the bowl. And then I'm going to move over here to, well, let's get the shadow pattern. There's a slight shadow pattern here around the outside of the bowl. We'll get that in. It goes up here to about this side section here. So just rough in a shadow. That's the shape I need. I need the shape of the shadow. Okay, now we're going to move over to the banana. And look at the distance here between the bowl and the banana. About right there. And we'll get that shape in. And the distance is about halfway down. You see, I'm comparing sizes with what's around. So the end of the banana is about halfway on the bowl. And the banana goes like this. So I'm drawing a light sketch around the shape. Let's come down about right here. And then the end of the banana goes. It doesn't quite touch the edge of the bowl. Just slightly missing the bowl. Okay. All right. So I've got the bowl and the banana. Now let's get the shadow shape over here. It's going to follow along the general lines of the banana shape, but it's going to have a slightly different curve here because it's at an angle. Oh, it's closer up here on the side, and then there's the stem Comes down underneath a little bit. Okay. All right, now let's get the spoon. Let's see. Now I'm going to rough in the cereal here. This is just get the outline edge. Outline edge is kind of rough, so making an arbitrary, just a very abstract shape. But on the inside portion of the bowl, it comes over here to the spoon area, and on around. Okay, so I got the inside shape of the. Then I'm going to scratch the spoon in. It's at an angle like this. So the angle is going to be off like this. I'll get the spoon shape in. So right now I'm capturing the shapes that I see. This has a little curve to it, so it'll come up just slightly up. Now there's a shadow here also, the shadow here of the spoon on the bowl itself. The bowl has a curve to it, so it'll have just a little slight angle. Okay, and then there's a shadow out here on the tabletop here. Let's get that angle. It's about this side, about this shape here. And let's see, about right here, and it's going to go out in this direction. Parallel with the handle that I see. And it's going to be much fainter. Okay, so I've got the bowl, the cereal, I got the spoon, shadow, I got the banana and the shadow. Okay, so I'm going to start shading in now. So I'm going to take the 2B pencil, which is a little darker lead, and I'm going to put in the next value. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start shading around behind the shadow. I'm considering the tabletop a little darker than the banana color. Now we're not doing any color tonight, so you have to work in values. We don't have the luxury of color. It's just lights and darks. And I thought this would be something we're going to learn tonight. Learn how to shade in an object, a simple object, but also get the proper values, light and dark. We'll come on around here, so I'm just going to shade in very roughly the tabletop. So it's going to have a value, not pure white. The only thing I'm going to leave white is the edge of the banana and the edge of the bowl, a little bit of the edge of the bowl here. Come up here with the same value up here. And I'm not going to shade the whole, I'm just going to shade enough around the objects here to show the difference in values. This will be the little same value up here. On around. Just going to rough in the value a little bit. Get that same color all the way around. Same value. Okay, now the next value is going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to go in and shade in the banana over here. This value right here. It's darker than the tabletop. So comparing this one, it'll have the shape of the banana. So I'm just roughing in with a 2B pencil here to get the shape in. And this is shadowed all the way down. This part down here, all shadowed in. Okay, now I'm going to get the inside of the bowl now. The inside of the bowl's got a shadow pattern. It's lighter over here on the right because the light's coming from this direction. But it's darker on this side of the bowl. So about from the spoon on around, it's going to have a darker value. I'll show a little bit of it there when I get it shaded in. When I start using the blender, you'll see some of the better shadows. a little bit over here, but not as dark as the one there. So, okay, so this is a little exercise in capturing the shadows and the values of the shadows. Okay, and the spoon itself, it's got a value to it, and it's much darker. You can see here, it's much darker than the tabletop. So I can shade that in, and then the shadow itself is a little bit, not quite as dark as the handle itself. Okay, then I have the shadow pattern on the outside of the bowl. And we'll adjust these as we go along. I'm blocking in the shadow patterns and the shapes and everything, just blocking them in with a value. And I'll have to adjust them as I go along. Okay, I can bring it up a little close up for you, but that's kind of hard to see. It's still pretty light. Okay, now I'm going to play around with the shapes of the cereal. Now, what I do here is just do the abstract shape. This is just going to be lines, and this happens to be oatmeal grains. So you know everyone's had oatmeal. Well, the dry grains are all kinds of shapes and sizes. So I'm drawing in here arbitrary lines, just breaking up this space here to indicate that there's a texture of something here in this bowl, and it happens to be the dry cereal. Okay. I set this up on my kitchen table and put the cereal in the cereal bowl and took a picture of this with my cell phone, my iPhone, and then I took a printout. So that's just how I developed this. And put some darker marks in there. Okay. All right, now we're going to darken up some things here. Now we're going to get a little bit darker. Now this happens to be a black wing matte pencil, which is a little bit darker. So I'm going to go ahead. And put this shadow in of the banana over here, right here. And I think you'll start seeing the shape now pop up as I add this in. This has got like a matte finish pencil lead, and I think it's about almost a 4B or 5B. It doesn't have a measurement to it, but I just can tell that it's a lot softer lead. And I use this for my shading. It gets the job done really good. So again, I'm going to block this in first before I do any blending with it. I'm just going to block it in, which I've been doing all along. I'm blocking in the values. And we'll come over here and I'll put a little more value on this spoon handle, because it's a little bit darker. And I'll come around. There's a dark shadow here now on the bowl. So really, when I'm finished here, I hope to eliminate all the lines. The lines were just guidelines, because really, when you draw something, you're drawing the form, and the form is defined by the values, the light and dark sections. So this dark section here is the form of the shadow around the lighter object. So that's kind of one of the lessons learned tonight, is to draw a shape and then have the form formed by the shadow pattern. And there's a shadow here from the spoon over here. It's not very dark. This is much lighter. Okay. All right, now I'm going to start blending now. I'm going to take my blending stump, and I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit the dark spots first. I'll go in over here. Now what the blending stump does, it smooths out the pencil lines. So this is a large blending stump. I've had this for a long time, and the longer you use it, the better it gets, because it gets graphite on the edges of it, so it already has some graphite on the stump itself. And so what I can do is I can collect a lot of this graphite from the marks here I just made. Then I can use that graphite now to go in here and just lightly blend the shadow on this banana here. So I'm spreading that, I put a little bit of shading on here. Now I'll just add a little more value to that. Okay, now we'll go down and do the shadow here. I'm going to do the shadow on the outside of the bowl over here. Because obviously the light's coming across the top left to the bottom right, which will give us the shadow pattern I see here. Okay, this will define the outside edge of this bowl over here. Now I'm going to darken up the spoon handle. And it has a cast shadow here down on the side of the bowl, right here. Okay. Now I'm going to go around and just do a lightly fine tune around the edges of the back, the tabletop. Now you would think this would be all white, but it wasn't white. It has an off-white gray look in the photograph, which is what I'm going by. If I was drawing this in real life, I would probably have a different value, but right now I'm going by the photograph, which shows this to be a little bit darker.
Question, you just changed the pressure?
Yeah. Yeah, question is whether the pressure, yeah, as you're going to a lighter area, you reduce the pressure on the stump so that you're spreading the graphite around, but you're not pushing it in. You're not putting a lot of pressure on it, just enough to spread the graphite around. And again, you have to look at the results when you finish, so that you can always adjust it. You can take some off with an eraser. You can add some more on with more graphite. Okay, this part over here, and just coming around the top of this bowl. And the only part I've left out a little bit is going to be inside the bowl where the cereal is, and that's pretty easy to do. And this little cast shadow here from the spoon handle. Don't want to forget that. That gives it dimension. The shadows give it dimension to a drawing. Okay, now I'm going to go inside the bowl now. It's a little bit darker over here on this side. Now start forming this is a bowl that goes, has a little dimension to it. So this shadow now will add the dimension of the bowl. The outside edge is higher up than the bottom, so you're going to have and over here it was a little bit lighter, so I'll reduce the pressure. I'm not rubbing as hard on I'm going to have a little bit of shadow here, but not as dark as the other side. A light pressure on this side over here. And as I go over here, I'll put a little more pressure on the stump as I go on this side. And let's take a look at that. Okay. Now I can clean up some edges now. Let's see. Let me go. Let me take that 2B. I'm going to take the 2B now. I'm going to go around and do a little bit of edge. Make sure this is nice and sharp here, or not sharp, but make sure it's nice and round. Now, check on my values. This could be a little bit darker up here. So comparing this handle with the shadow down here, it's a little bit dark, not about the same value down here. So I'm comparing those values. The shadow part of this handle. The cast shadow is not as dark. And this cast shadow here is not as dark. And let's go back to the banana now. The banana, this shadow pattern over here, about the same as that one. I think this shadow on the banana could be a little bit darker. This shadow right here. If you look at the photograph, this is not as dark as this, but it's a lot darker than this section on the outside. So I'm going to put a little more value, a little more graphite on this section up here. So this is where I make a final adjustment to the values. Putting a little more graphite on this shape up here, the form shadow of the banana. This is the form shadow. The cast shadow is here that's on the tabletop. This goes on around here to all the way to the tip of the okay. Now I'll go in with a blender now. I'll finish the final touches here. We'll go back here. I started here on the bowl shadow. We'll go in there and add the stump here to the edge of that. Okay, the shadow of the darker area of the spoon handle. Very lightly touch the cast shadow. Then we'll come around here and do the cast shadow of the banana. Now let's see. I think what I'll do here on with my 2B. I'm going to sharpen this edge here because the bottom edge of this banana is very well defined. If you look at the photograph, this is really dark right here. The darkest, I guess the darkest shadow here of this picture is right here. So I'm going to emphasize that. Okay. Then I'll go in with my blender and finish that off. So that'll give the cast shadow edge of the banana coming around. Okay. Well, let me see if I like that. I think the another adjustment I want to make. Take that 2B. I think this shadow here needs to be a little bit darker in here on this edge, because if you look at the picture, it's much darker here than this side. This side here is the light's hitting over here, but over here it's a lot more shadow. So it's got to be a little bit darker, almost as dark, not as dark as a cast shadow, not as dark as a cast shadow, but it's dark, darker than the other side. So, you know, you're making the adjustments as you go around and look at the drawing and say, okay, that's got to be darker. This side over here is lighter because it's in light. Okay. And we'll blend that up a little bit. Come in here. Use the blend. The blending stump, what that does, it spreads out the graphite. Takes out the lines, smooths out the edges. This side over here is a little bit lighter. Okay, now the only parts left here is the outside edge. And I'm just kind of filling in the space here, not really. I had this taped down so it wouldn't move around, so I'm going to take it up a little bit. Take the tape up. taking the tape off. Okay. Now I take the tape off the paper. Paper's there. That's the thing about tape, though. You gotta be careful. It tears up paper. This paper's pretty good, but the tape will stick to it. Okay. So now, go ahead. I'm going to finish off the edge of this drawing. I'm going to go around. I'll go around all the edges now. I'm going to move it around so I can see. Now this edge here defines the outside edge here. So that pencil line really it's not really, it's the edge of the bowl. And the outside edge here is the edge of the banana over here. Oh, you gotta see what I'm doing. Come around the edge of the banana. I got it upside down now, but what I'm doing is I'm cleaning up the outside edges here of all the shapes. Coming around the outside edge here of the banana. Trying to smooth out all the edges so that they are equal. Trying to eliminate all the white areas, except for the ones I want. And the last part is over here, on this side here. I had to move that around. Sorry about that. But I'm just trying to get the edge of the outside edge of the drawing, so it looks like a completed piece. Okay. So let me bring it up close to see that. Now that is the end of. Now over here, what happened was I had the I laid this on the edge of that paper. Now what will happen, I give you an edge, so I'm going to take that away. When you lay something underneath a paper, you're going to get an edge, and that's what happened here on this edge right here. That line is from the paper I laid on the edge of this paper here, which normally wouldn't happen, but for demonstration purposes I had it laying on top. And what I'm doing is I'm going to smooth that out a little bit so it doesn't show up. So I'm just going back over it. Don't want to erase it or anything. Don't want to erase. So just use the blender to blend it out. There, it went away. Okay, I got it. I recovered it. There's a little bit of line still showing. Okay. Okay. Well, there's the ordinary sketch and pencil drawing of a bowl of cereal with a banana. Okay, and I think the lesson learned tonight was the values. The value of that banana with this form edge, the value of the cast shadow, the value of the bowl inside, and the value over here, which is different, and of course the cast shadow over here, and the value on the handle, and the whole value of the overall outside. You have to compare the two, and if you'll see from the drawing, I left that banana edge whiter, and this over here white around the edge of the bowl, so there'd be a difference. Okay, so let's go to my main camera.
Now everybody needs to draw their breakfast.
Hey, a good lesson is when you sit down for breakfast or you sit down for a snack at the table, draw what you see. I know a story I have is when I was working in Texas, I go to my job, and Gloria would fix me lunch every day. And before I had lunch, I would draw what was in front of me. Whether it was an apple or a sandwich or whatever, and then I would draw that. And that was kind of my exercise, and that was 25 years ago. So I took 5 or 10 minutes and just sketched whatever was in front of me. So that's always a good idea. It's good practice. And the one thing about drawing is you got to practice a little bit every day, about 15 minutes a day, to keep your skills tuned in, so that you have a good line coordination, draw your lines correctly and then shade it in. Okay, so I'll be back again this week for Simply Drawing Everett at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also Thursday at 2 o'clock p.m. I'll be here for Everett's Watercolors. Check me out on my watercolor demonstrations also. And over the weekend I'll do simply anyone can draw with one line. Comes out on Sunday. So you all enjoy that, and until next week. Oh, okay. Gloria wants to. Gloria reminded me. Every 3 days a week when I go out for a walk, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's my typical walk days. I will take my sketchbook with me, and I'll take 10 or 15 minutes on my walk, find something new that I haven't seen before, or something that's changed, and I'll do a sketch. So I get in practice every week doing something. So that's a simple exercise: is have a sketchbook with you wherever you go, and have it. Mine's pocket size, so I can carry it in my pocket, and a pencil, and you can stand there and sketch, or if you have a place to sit down or a bench or something, then do that. But capture something and keep track of it. And my sketch and walk journal is something I keep track of, and I'm going to show that probably to the class here one of these nights.
And they can catch your shorts on YouTube as well.
Yeah, and what I do is usually when I do a sketch, I will do a short, and that'll be posted on YouTube and Facebook, so you can catch me also during the week. So until next week, I'll see you on my next live video. You all stay safe. The weather's going to be kind of nice this day, so get outside and do some drawing. Enjoy the nice, cooler weather. So we'll say bye.